This is very important topic, the evaluation context. So before we dive into other DAX functions, let's take a deep dive into the concept of evaluation context. What is evaluation context? It is the evaluation context refers to the set of filters that are applied to a DAX function when it is calculated. Set of filters. You remember here in this case, this is a filter. When I change the value here in the slicer, it applies this, the filter on all the visuals in this page, right? So set in this case, the slicer is a filter we applied on all the visuals. Even if you keep the cursor on top of this one, you can see that is less than or equal to 9 months. And just above the visual, you can see the filter icon. If you keep the cursor, you can see that month is less than or equal to 9. So that means all the visuals got filtered with month is less than or equal to 9. Okay, less than or equal to 9. What is the average revenue? What is the total revenue? That is what it shows us. The evaluation context is nothing but the set of filters that are applied to a DAX function when it is calculated. The environment, and apart from this, right, the environment, there is another definition, okay, the environment in which a DAX formula is evaluated in. Okay, now the question from Deepa is very good. So what do you mean by set of filters apart from slices? That's what I was about to tell, okay? You said, you can use the slicers to filter the data in your visual. We can use a slicer. We have used the slicer to filter the visuals, isn't it? So these visuals we have filtered using this slicer. So for this visual, the filter came from this slicer. And apart from this, we have something called filter pane. Here also you can apply the filter to your visual. So the sources for filter for all the visuals can be the slicer or filter pane filters, or the explicit measures, okay, explicit measures, and also the visual filters, okay, visual filters, visual row level and column level filter. These are the sources of filters for your visuals. For example, I have something like a measure the sales amount equal to sum of fact sales and sales amount. In this case, what we are seeing is in both the table visual, we can see that the total sales is 456K. But both the table, the total sale is same, but the row by row, if you see, the values are differing, but we can see different values in different rows. Isn't it? Different rows and different rows. That's what we can see it here. Okay, so why it is happening now? Okay, so now, this one will help you to understand the concept here. Yes, Deepa and Sarah, Swami are all correct, right? I'll explain now. So now I just click on the plus icon here. For example, I'm going to create a table. I'm going to click on a table visual. Yes, I'm going to use another table visual. Okay, why table visual? Instead, we will use the matrix. Select the table visual and click on the matrix. You can use table also, not a problem. Here, what I do is listen very carefully. It's a very interesting one. But even if you spend 2 days or 3 days time going through various videos on YouTube, you will not be able to understand. Hence, please listen very carefully. And here the sales amount column. Where is the sales amount column? I could see 2 calculated columns are there. Okay, fine. Let it be there. I'm going to drop this sales. Okay, not this one. This is the column. Can you see this? The sales amount column, right? Next to that, we can see the sigma sign. I told you at the very beginning. Next to each numeric column, you will find the sigma notation, which means by default, Power BI applies the sum aggregator function, which means when I drag and drop the sales amount column in this one, it applied the sum of sales amount automatically. I'm going to increase the font size. Now the font size is less than 14. Okay, and then, yeah, that's it. The same thing here, the same sales amount. When I drag and drop this, it is not giving the transaction level detail. See, this one, the sales fact sales tree will have 2 years of data in it. It is not showing each and every day's sales for the last 2 years here. Instead, for the last 2 years, what is the total sales? It displays only one number, single number. And here I just put 14. And I hope it is. So both the values are same here. But the moment when I drag and drop the sales amount column here, it gives me one number summary. Just give me the summary in the total sales amount in one line. Okay, is there any way can I display this value transaction level? Yes, you can go here. Sorry, you can go to the here and then here the sales amount. You click on the drop down here. Yeah, here you don't have that option. 1 second. And when I change it to the table visual, in the table visual, you have that option, don't summarize. If you give don't summarize, it gives you the last year, each and every, whatever the sales happened for the last 2 years, it gives me. But when I, by default, when I drag and drop the sales amount, it is using the sum function on the sales amount column. This is default behavior. It is called your implicit measure. Remember this. Okay, if you see some, I'm going to drag and drop something, you will find some magic here. So location dimension. Here, I'm going to drag and drop the location name along with the sales amount column. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just change it to the table visual for the time being. Okay, yes. Okay, and here, if I drag and drop the customer name here, how much amount spent by each customer in total for the last 2 years we can see. So oddly, in this case, we can make out that only 6 customers are purchasing from this people in this company. Okay, each person how much they spend, that is what we see. And if you notice the total sales here, sorry, I did not open that. If you see the total sales in both the table visual, the total sales is different. But if you compare the values row by row, it is not same. It is not same. Why it is not same? Obviously, this customer in name is different from location name. These two are not same column. These two are two different columns. If somebody asks how much money is spent by each customer, then this visual is helpful. How much money will earn in each location even. So this one makes sense. How much money spent by each customer is different from how much money we made in total in each city is different. So the environment is different here. What is happening is the location name column comes from your location table, and then the sales amount column comes from your fact sales table. These two columns are coming from two different tables. Same way, the customer name comes from the customer table, and then the sales amount comes from your fact sales table. Okay, both the visuals, two different tables, columns are used. Okay, and what happens, the beauty here is, though the total sales is same, it gives me the moment when I drag and drop the text column along with this numeric column. In this case, the text column is your location name. The moment when I drop it here, automatically it gives me the breakdown of sales by location out of the total sales. Out of the total sales, how much total sales I made in Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, and so on. Similarly, out of the total sales, how much purchase made in total by each customer it gives us. Got it? This is the magic. Can you do the same thing in Excel? That is not possible. That is the reason why PowerPoint is very much popular. Sorry, the Power BI. Power BI is very much popular. It gives me the breakdown by sales, right? Sales breakdown by customer name or sales breakdown by location. It gives me that automatically. How is it possible? That is because the relationship. we have created how many of you remember filtering? Yeah, I explained the filtering in the data modeling. And your the product dimension table filters my sales fact table, and customer dimension filter the fact sales table. Since these relations are existing between the tables, it is doing the filtering. I just go back here. Okay, now the question is, why the total sales is same, though the total sales is same for these two tables, why the values are not same in the rows, right? Because that is because of the evaluation context. That is because of the evaluation context. What do you mean by evaluation context? The environment in which a DAX formula is evaluated. If you drop a location name along with the numeric column, it gives me this sales breakdown by location name. It gives me the sales breakdown by category. So it depends on the context. If it is a location, it gives me the location, location-wise sales happen. And if you put category here, so that is the reason why we say the environment, the evaluation context is nothing but the environment in which a DAX formula is calculated. So did I do any DAX, did I write any query, DAX query to do the breakdown? Nothing. It's all happening automatically because of the relationships we defined between the tables. There are three types of evaluation context. One is row context, next one is the filter context. What is row context? A row context is that whenever you create any calculator column, the calculation done row by row. Row context is evaluated whenever an expression iterates over a table. Even you can use an iterative function to enable the row context. Okay, row context exists in a calculate column or iterating DAX function. That's what I mentioned. And the row context does not propagate through relationship automatically. Row context iterates the table, but it does not do filtering. It does not do filtering. I'll just go over here. This is very important. This is what I discussed in the last session. What is row context? I explained everything in detail. Look here. Here I'm going to click on the sales amount by column. So in this case, I have created a new column, sales amount by line. On the right side of the equal sign, I put price into quantity, list price into quantity. When you multiply the quantity by price in each and every line, it gives me the sales amount. For example, here, if you go here, the list price is 50 and quantity 2. So 2 into 50 is 100. So this is called your calculate column. Remember that in the case of calculate column, row by row, it goes and values the expression. So row context is nothing but row by row operation. When that happens in the case of calculated column like this, but in this case, it is going to each and every row and pick up the quantity and price, and then it multiplies that and it shows the value here. But it does not do any filter context. Row by row only it iterates. It goes in each and every row and picks up the list price and picks up the quantity and takes the product and put it here. The interview, they ask you what is calculated column. Give me what is row context? You tell them. In the case of calculated column like this, it does the row by row operation. It evaluates the expression row by row. Hence, it is called as a row context. But it does not do filtering. Next one is the filter context. What is filter context? Again, it is set of filters applied to the data model before evaluation of the DAX expression is started. So what are the sources for filter for your visual? Explained a while back. Please stay awake. Here I told you, right? So what are the sources of filter for these visuals? The slicer in this case. What are the other possible? Tell me the all possible source of filter for visuals: row selection, column selection, filter selection, slicer selection. In the case of matrix visual, right? Row and column. Also, it sends the filter and DAX formula filters. Row, column, all the things. You might be getting confused with this one. Don't worry, I'll explain you with this example. What is the initial filter context this particular cell? Can someone tell me? This is a table or matrix visual. And here we can see that the value 7,986 got highlighted with a rectangular, red colored rectangle. So what does the initial filter context for this specific cell? What is that? How this value arrived? That is because in this row, Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, tell me the total. So out of the total sales, this is my total sales. In this total sales, what is the total sales we made in Hyderabad? Out of this total sales, how much sales we made in Hyderabad? That is what it shows us. Next one is the Kolkata, right? So in this case, the initial filter is when location name equal to Hyderabad, that is the filter. Location name equal to Hyderabad. So what is the total sales we made in Hyderabad? Okay, the initial filter context is fine. The initial context for the highlighted cell is only coming from the rows in the matrix from the location name equal to Hyderabad. Okay, the initial context for the highlighted cell is only coming from the rows in the matrix from location name equal to. How many of you are able to understand? Sushmita, okay, all of you please say, yes, yes or no. Sarah, you are able to understand. Sushmita, Swarna, very good, very good, very good. Okay, overwhelming response, very good. All of you are able to understand, right? Okay, very good. Okay, good.